Hey everyone, it's Jason, and welcome to Ducks vs. Demons, a game of Tic Tac KO. So this is the third set in the line of Tic Tac KO games by Unstable Games. Unstable Games, here we have their logo. And T-Turtle, who make unstable unicorns in games like that. So what is this game? So the idea is you are trying to play tic-tac-toe by placing different cards which have abilities and stuff, abilities and different effects that will let you defeat or remove other players' cards or place extra cards yourself. So like tic-tac-toe, you want to get 3 in a row. So you can get 3 in a row, left to right, up and down, or diagonally. And this just adds some extra things to it. So, we're going to do this video and talk about this box set itself and how the rules are played. And I'm going to do a second video, which I will link in the description, which is a comparison to the 2 previous games. Because there are some differences between them. They're still compatible, but there's a little bit of a caveat to that. So check out that video if you want to see what the differences are. But if you're just like, hey, I just want to know what this game is, this is what we're looking for. So go ahead and take a look at the rules here. So, introduction. Easy to learn strategy game. You play as either a team of ducks or a team of demons. Aim to connect 3 characters in a row in an ever-changing grid while sabotaging your opponents. Your magic cards will bring you heat, and your instant cards might ruffle a few feathers. But always make sure you get your ducks in a row, unless, of course, you're playing as Team Demon, in which case, never mind, you get the point. So there are 40 duck cards, which will be blue, and they'll have the blue back that says ducks, and 40 red demon cards. Now, each deck is going to have the same number of cards in each deck, so there are a couple different types of cards. There are basic cards, which is bunch of the cards. There are special cards, which will have effects on them. Then there are magic cards, which are white, and then there are black cards, which are instants. So each one will have the same number of cards, same basic, same this. So they have the same consistency. They do not necessarily all have the exact same abilities or effects. So it's not like you're playing 2 of the exact same decks. I'll zoom back a little bit. Divide players into 2 equal teams. Note, if you have 2 or 3 players, you'll find modifications at the end of the rule. Each team selects a deck. The team with the youngest player chooses their deck first. Other teams is stuck with the other deck because there's only 2 options. Sit next to your teammate if you have the other team sit in crossbeat. So you can play this as multiplayer. Each of your teammates draws 5 cards. The team who chooses their deck second starts the game. Player of the team that most recently took out the trash goes first. So you're going to play like this. So player 1 goes, then player 2 for the other team, player 3, then player 4, then back to player 1. Now it's simple. That's the setup for the game. How to play the game. You're consistent of 3 phases. Draw phase. Draw a card from the top of your team's deck, add it to your hand. Action phase. Play a character or magic card from your hand. You cannot or do not want to play a card. You may draw a second card instead. Score phase. If your team has 3 cards in a row, vertically, horizontally, you may remove those 3 cards and place them in front of your team as a stack. Each stack in front of you counts as 1 point. So you're not just playing for 1 victory and then your game is done. Note, start your action phase before you play a card or draw a second card. If at least 1 character on the field is face down, you may discard 2 cards from your hand to flip 1 character face up. You only put 1 face up per turn. And we'll probably learn about that. So, this is what makes the game really interesting. The field is a flexible 9-card grid that most 3 cards wide by 3 tall. Throughout the game, you'll play characters onto the field in a row of 3 and score points. The field may never have more than 3 in a row or column. This means, for example, if 2 cards are side by side, you may only play a 3rd card in an open location on either side. However, if 3 cards in a row, you may not place a card outside the boundaries of that row. In other words, once there are 3 and 3 is defined. So what does this mean? Beginning of the game, you play 1 card. Now you can play a card any single other place. So then we get a little bit later. Now we have 2 cards played this way. So your only option to play is play either this way to have 3 go this way or 3 go this way. This outside border is now locked. You can't play any more cards that direction. Now this doesn't matter if you play that here or there, or if you play a card down here or here. You can play in any of those spots, but you just can't go left or right. And then now we also have our 2 here, which indicates they're up and down. So again, that locks out this entire outside border. You do not have to play a card adjacent to another card. You just can't place it outside of that. So then this is showing, once you have 3 across, now both sides are blocked. You can no longer play a card outside, but you can play a card on 3 top or the 3 bottom, and then this is showing the exact opposite, another way. You have diagonals. You have 1 card here, 1 there. We've established our 3 up and down and our 3 left to right. So now all other cards have to be played in that. But what makes this also modifying is that I play a card here, my opponent plays this, right? If then on the next turn, this card gets, like, if you get crisscross 3 and you have to remove your cards, or if this gets defeated, all of a sudden now this becomes, and this is the only card left, now it then sets it back up to this way. So it's going to be ever changing. So you might have these 2 right here. You might be like, oh, if I could play 1 card there, if you could somehow remove that, all of a sudden now this is free. Or if your opponent got 3 cards in a row right here, and then they removed them from the board because they scored your points, all of a sudden now it's going to open you up to play a card on either side. So it's interesting, it's a very flexible thing. So if your team has 3 points at the end of your turn, your team wins the game. But where your deck runs out of cards, your team loses immediately. So drawing too many extra cards is not good. Demon Guts do 3 types of cards. They have character cards used to claim locations on the field. Some characters are basic, meaning they do not have effects, while others are special, meaning they have effect as soon as they enter the field. You only play character cards in open locations. We have the magic cards. Feature one-time use effects. After you play a magic card, immediately move it to your team's discard pile. And then we have instant cards. Disrupt another player's action. You can use them immediately when the condition listed on the cards are met, even if another player's turn. You may play any number of instances on a single turn. That's basically the idea. Then we do have Gridlock. If there are no open locations on the field at the end of your turn, and you did not play a card during the action phase, the game is Gridlock. Each team must immediately move all face-up basic character cards on the field to their discard pile, then flip each remaining character card face-up. So, if this was the beginning of my turn, I have not played anything yet, I can't play anything else, and no one scored. So then what you do is all face-up cards to be discarded. This would start your new field. They get flipped up, and you get to place them. Yeah, it's nice that they included a rule for that. There is a 2-player variant. If you're playing 2 players, make the following modifications. At the beginning of the game, each player draws 6 cards instead of 5. During your action phase, do one of the following. Play a character card, play up to 2 magic cards, or draw a card. So it just gives you the option of playing an additional magic card. If you're playing 3 players, one team will have 2 players, while one will have 1. The solo player will take a turn in between each of the other 2. So it'll go player A, then player B on the second team, then goes back to player A, then goes to player C. So it bounces back and forth. At the beginning of the game, the solo player should draw 7 cards to have 5. Others should still draw 5. Just gives you more options. So there's important terms and effects. So we have X plus is to draw X cards from the top of your deck. Skull is destroy. Move a character card from the field that belongs to the opposing team to that discard pile. Summon, play a basic card from your hand. Repel, remove a character card from the field, then choose a player of the corresponding team and add to their hand. So you could one player could play it, the next turn you could bounce it back to their hand, or you could bounce it to the other player's hand. Doesn't matter. Displace, move a character on the field to an open location on the field, so move them somewhere else. Swap, switch the location of 2 characters on the field, and hypnotize, flip a character on the field face down. If you cannot form a 3 in a row, if one or more of these cards is face, if you cannot form a 3 in a row, if one or more of these cards is face down. If at least one character on the field is face down at the start of your action phase, before you play a card, you may discard 2 cards from your hand to flip one face up. So yeah, hypnotize can be very powerful, because you can flip the cards face down, and then now you can't score with them. Otherwise, they can move stuff around and do things there. That is the rules for the game. Very simple. Alright, so let's take a look at what cards we have. So we're going to start with our ducks. Now, in case you're just curious, the other 2 sets of the games are Cute versus Evil And then there's dragons versus unicorns. So we're going to get 3 copies of Honk the Duck. We're going to get 3 copies of Squeak, who's in a little egg. 3 copies of Peep, who's a little toast in his head. 3 copies of Crumb, who's fat. And then 3 copies of the Chicks. So there's our basic ones. Then we have our special ones. We have 3 copies of Anxious Alan, who's going to let you draw a card. So I like to have the symbol, but then they also have the words, which is helpful. 3 copies of Grenadier Gary, destroy a guy. 3 copies of Pyro Penny, who's going to let you summon. 2 copies of Bomber. Make sure I did have 3 copies of him. Yep, okay. 2 copies of Bomber Betsy, who's going to repel, lets you move a guy, return them to their hand. And then 2 copies of Pirate Pete, who's going to displace. Then we have 1 magic card of Nest Egg, which lets you draw 3 cards. 1 Choosing Violence, which lets you destroy and draw a card. 2 Slicing Dice, which lets you repel and draw a card. Drop these down quick. We have 2 of the Quackening, lets you displace a card and draw a card. And 2 Ducks, which lets you draw 2 cards. Then, finally, we have 4 copies of the Duck Egg. It says, play this card when any other player tries to play a card. Stop that player's card from being played and send it to their discard pile. So that's basically you can do is just stop any player from playing a card. So very simple. Alright, then for our demons, we have 3 Hellhoundlings, 3 Baddie Boys, 3 Stelliads, 3 Junior Fiends, 3 Coalfowl, and then for our special demons, we have 3 Scribes of Pain, which lets you draw a card, 3 Nightmares, which lets you destroy, 3 Unbound Furies, which lets you summon, 2 Undead Masters, which lets you hypnotize, and 2 Beasts of the Below, which lets you swap cards. Then for our magic, we have Spirits of Darkness, which draw 3, Incendiary Memo, which destroy and draw 1, 2 Mesmerizing Medallions for hypnotize and draw 1, 2 Infernal Exchanges, which is swap and draw 1, 2 Book of the Undead, which lets you draw 2, and then they get 4 Demonic Seals for their instance, which is going to let you play this card when the player tries to play a card, stop that player's card from being played and send it to their discard pile. So it does the exact same effect. So I just kind of want to look at this and point this out between the 2 of them. It's just the symmetry and difference between them. So like we just saw, we have the instances, which are the exact same, just different names for each one. So basically no difference there for what they're going to do. Let me swap these 2 around. Alright, so for magic cards, we have each one has a draw 3. Each one has a destroy 1 and draw 1. They each have 2 copies of the draw 2. So far, those are all the exact same. Then the other little differences we get between the decks, just to make them a little bit different, is the ducks get a displacing draw, where mesmerizing, or the demons get hypnotized. So displace lets you move a character on the field to an open location, so you can move a guy around. So this could help you disrupt your opponent's lineup, or so they can't get a line 3, or move your stuff around, or move your guys so you can get one. Hypnotize will then flip it down so it can't be available. The other advantage to Hypnotize, though, is because if it's face down and you gridlock, you get to keep your card. So if you see you're getting close to gridlock, you might even target yourself. And then on the other hand, we have 2 Slicing Dice, which has a repel, and we have a swap. So Repel is going to bounce a card back to a hand, and Swap is going to let you move 2 characters around. So Swap and Displace are kind of similar, except Displace lets you move it to an open spot, where Swap is going to move 2 cards around. So generally with swapping, though, you're only going to probably pick one of your cards and one of your opponents, because there's not really a general reason for why you would ever want to swap 2 of your own cards. But then Repel, on the other hand, again, kind of like Mesmerize, could have a reason to target your own card. Because maybe you're like, oh, I have a card in the corner and it's blocked by my opponent, so it's not going to be useful for me scoring 3. You could return it to your hand and then replay it, and maybe it has an extra Destroy or Displace or a different effect, right? So it could give you something additional to use. I can play him in a more advantaged spot, plus reuse his special effect. So there's a very cool idea there. Then with the blah blah blah, with the special ones, we have, again, with the Ducks getting Displace and the Demons getting Swap, and the same thing with Repel and Hypnotize. So that's the difference between basically 2 decks. Is the Ducks are going to be able to return stuff to your hands or move something on the board, whereas the Demons are going to be able to flip something face down so it can't be used, or it's going to be able to move 2 things around on the board, which could definitely help it. Because then they'll both have 3 summons, which lets them put an extra card out. They'll both have their 3 destroys, and then they'll have their 3 draw ones. So other than that, they're the same. So that's the only difference really between them. So is one better than the other? No, not necessarily. They each have their own different effects for what they do. Because if you hypnotize a guy, they can't score. But again, it could be useful if you see you're going to gridlock. Returning a card to your hand could be very useful, because then that way you could replay it again. So they kind of have both benefits per each team. And then again, that difference between displacing versus swapping. Swapping, is going to help you because you could, if your guy's blocked in a corner, you can move them out, or you could move a guy into a line so you can score instantly and put your opponent at a disadvantage. But the same thing is displacing lets you move any guy anywhere. So you can always just move a guy right to a place and score and not have to worry about what your opponent's doing, but you have to have an open space. So they're kind of here or there. They're a little bit different versions of each other. So that's what we have for this set. So I think, really quick, kind of fun game. You can jump in, play it, do it. Again, check out the link in the description. I'm going to go over comparing this to the other 2 games to see what's different about them and the compatibility. Again, there's a little bit of a caveat on how they're compatible and what's different, so it might be worth checking out if you're like, hey, I really love this, but it'd be cool to have more different decks. So let's see you guys in that video. Otherwise, hit me up in the comments. Bye!